Welcome once again to Breakfast Central. To continue the conversation this morning, of course, our focus is still on Rivers State and the crisis, political crisis going on over there. We are now joined by legal practitioner Dennis Osaretin to share with us from the legal angle, what may be, ongoing in Rivers State and how much chaos we're still yet to see. Mr. Osaretin, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. All right, I'm not even sure where to start from. Let's start with the lawmakers. All 27 of them eventually dropped to 25 yesterday. Reports are saying 26 this morning. That, of course, that defected to the APC. There are news reports that they have set up, or rather they held plenary at the House of Assembly auditorium. And, of course, amongst themselves decided that that would be their makeshift House of Assembly until, of course, maybe a new one is built. Tell us about their fate. Is there any legality to what they have done? Do you think that they may also have absolutely lost their seats in the State House of Assembly?
Well, just to put it out there that some of these issues are already sub judice, so whatever we're going to be saying this morning will just be scratching the surfaces. So without necessarily getting into the nitty-gritty of the matter that's already pending before a court. But generally speaking, the law is quite clear, that if a party sponsors you, especially to the legislative arm of government, whether it's National Assembly or the State House of Assembly, and for one reason or the other, you decide to jump ship, cross carpet or decamp, to a new political party that did not sponsor you, you lose your seat automatically, and that matter has been tested and tried before a court or competent jurisdiction, or to the Supreme Court, So, generally speaking, if a party decides to jump ship and go to another party midway, into its tenure, the law is that you lose your seat automatically.
All right. Part of their explanations would be the subsequent paragraphs that share that the conditions for which this can be exempt, which is, of course, division in the political party. And they have cited that there is division at the national level, as there is confusion as to who the national secretary of the PDP is. Do you think that this is strong enough to amount as division in the party?
That argument is neither here nor there. For me, to my mind, that may appear to be a very weak argument, when it is tested, passed through the litmus test. What is the issue here? The issue is there should be credible and verifiable facts and evidence to show that there is actually division at the party at the national level. To profile the excuse that because you don't know who the secretary is, therefore there should be, in your own mind, there is division. I don't think that would be correct, because right now we don't know of any faction in the PDP as we speak. We don't know of any national chairman. We are told from reports that we are getting that the National Committee of the PDP is one and intact, and they have been, conducting the business of the political party, seamlessly. So for some of these members to now profile the argument that because the secretary of the party is unknown, therefore there's a division.
Okay. Seem to be losing the connection with Dennis Osaretin. Can you hear us, Mr. Osaretin?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. We seem to be struggling a little bit with the connection.
I can hear you.
All right, please go ahead.
Yes, I said, so the argument that there is a division in the party, division in the PDP, for me, is a very weak argument. Citing the example that, right now they don't know who the national secretary of the party is. For me, that is also a very lame duck, defense, or a lame duck approach to get, all right? Because I know for a fact that the National Committee of the PDP is one and intact, and they have been conducting their business seamlessly. For some, a few members to suddenly now begin to whip up this sentiment and say that there's a division in the party, I don't think that is correct.
Or more than a few, but, now let's talk about the other, 4 or 5 now. There was news reports yesterday that Governor Siminalayi Fubara presented the 2024 budget to the 5 lawmakers. Let's get some clarity as to how this works. Can 5 lawmakers go on and pass, or at least deliberate on a budget or a state budget when 26 or 27 of them, are missing? Is there any legality to that? With the location, where this is also taking place, there's also some red flags being raised there. Is it simply the presence of the mays, that gives them legality to hold a session of the House, even if there's just 4 or 5 of them?
Again, without sounding like a broken record, it's also important that we put it out there that the issue of the legality as to the proper House of Assembly as properly constituted is also a matter that's already before a court. I'm aware that there's a matter before the Federal High Court, and there's another matter also before the High Court. To that extent, we may not be able to speak with mathematical exactitude, as to which house is properly constituted, whether it's a 5 or is it 26 or 27, as the case may be. So that is also a matter that is subject or subject of litigation. But from what we know, judging by the facts that's already out there in the news, that we know that there is actually 2 pending court orders, one from the Federal High Court and then subsequent order from the State High Court. The first in time that of the Federal High Court, which has clearly stated that status quo ought to be maintained. So to that extent, if there's a Federal High Court, order saying that status quo should be maintained, so we can, honestly speaking, question the legality or otherwise of the 5 lawmakers that the governor went to go and submit his budget before. But like I said, we cannot make any categorical statement right now because those issues are still before the court, and the court is yet to give a final decision on the issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting that you are going to give judgment. We're just trying to get our viewers to understand, the legal aspects of, of this, and what is possible, that can be derived from these situations, because it's definitely doesn't sound normal, that 5 people are being presented, a budget. So
I think another angle to look at it from is to also look at the information that we got, that there was a sitting that held yesterday, not by the 5, by the ones who have defected, and that this sitting held at the Assembly complex. So I want you to share with us from your perspective, what the legality of this is. I mean, is it legal for the 26 of them or 27 of them, as the case may be, to hold a sitting out at the Assembly quarters, not the Assembly complex, because the Assembly complex has been pulled down. Now, if we go back in time to the time of Governor Ladoja, when they tried, when they tried to remove him in a hotel room, they had the sitting in a hotel room, and flowing from that, we had Inokoju and Adeleke, and then the judgment of the court was that exactly, you can't hold sittings outside the Assembly complex. So would you say that that is applicable in this situation where they are having it in the Assembly quarters, not in the complex itself that has been demolished?
Absolutely. The issue of the appropriate venue, where you can conduct legislative business has been clearly determined over and over again, like you have rightly, highlighted. It's plethora of cases have decided what constitutes venue where you can conduct legislative business. And of course, the law did not even say that you go and start holding meetings in the hotel room or even on the streets or in River State. The appropriate place to conduct legislative business remains the hallowed chambers of the River State House of Assembly. But looking at the facts on the ground, right now we also saw in the news that the House of Assembly complex has been demolished. So if that is the case, it becomes arguable that the members, if properly constituted, can decide to now look for a new venue to conduct legislative business. But until the issue of the constitutionality or otherwise of the faction is determined, we cannot start talking about whether or not the venue is legal or illegal. But looking at the cases on point, the proper place to conduct legislative business remains the hallowed chamber of the Legal State House of Assembly and nowhere else.
Well, if that's the only thing, it means that both the budget presentation and the one that, of course, that was conducted by the 26, both illegal. If that's
we're just going to have to wait.
Yeah,
to hear what the court says, because, like, I mean,
like I said, speaking generally, the venue issue has been clearly defined or determined by a court of competent jurisdiction, from Adeleke's case to Inakoju up to even Darie and all that. So looking at that from the surface, you can clearly say that, of course, you can question the legality of the venue of both, transactions.
But we have to then go back to questioning the
or even the
legality.
resolution has been passed by the factions. Yes.
Okay, so now we have to go to determining the legality of the factions before we can discuss these others, because you cannot put something or nothing and expect it to stand.
Absolutely. You might remember they've also people are also arguing as to the issue of the maize. Some people are saying that the proper maize is between one of the faction and the other. So these are facts that both parties still need to present before a court of competent jurisdiction, so that they can have a finality as to who has done the right thing in the eye of the law.
Yeah. All right. Now, of course, let's also talk about the commissioners who seem to be jumping ship. We've seen reports, in the last few hours that, I think about 6 or 7 of them now, maybe even more, have resigned. So, I want to get your views on this also, what you see playing out here and how you feel, Governor Fubara will be able to handle all this chaos going on at the same time, in his state.
Yes, on the issue of the resignation of the commissioners, that clearly is a political issue and clearly shows that probably some members of the State Executive Council seems to have probably pinched their tent with their political godfather, who in this instance is Governor Wike. They've already taken sides, and then they can no longer be comfortable working with the political godson in person of Governor Siminalayi Fubara and all that. So it's very obvious now that the governor right now has a lot of political, a lot of political warfare that he needs to brace up and then, contend with. A lot of factors that I need to contend with. So these are the same people that worked hard to bring him to office. And if the same people are now beginning to jump ship and abandon him in the middle of a crisis, it therefore means that the governor also needs to watch back and put his house in order. He needs to recruit lieutenants that will be able to defend him and fight with him all the way through this political turmoil.
Okay, well, best of luck to him. We, of course, on the other side of the story, will simply just follow and see where this leads. But thank you very much for sharing your views with us and your legal views on this situation with us, then Society. Look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you very much for having me.